everyone, and welcome to a Time Shifters podcast, Time Hop Edition. And today, Tom and I are here with another fun one for you. Tom, how are you? Did you enjoy this film?
I did enjoy this film. As we were discussing at the start of the show, it was one where I went in not knowing what I was going to watch, and I'm like, hey, I kind of know this material. And then it followed through.
Yep, and you absolutely should, because we watched the 2023 film Killer Kites. And this is directed by Paul Dale and Austin Frosch. The latter is also credited with writing the film. This is the same team that brought us Sewer Gators. And this film will not let you forget it.
No, it won't.
And we reviewed that film, and can you believe this was in June of 22 that we reviewed Sewer Gators?
I know. So, given the budget and quote unquote quality, it's believable that they churned another one out almost right away.
Well, I actually was surprised that it was that long ago. It doesn't feel that long to me.
Well, it's such a pleasant, fond memory. So
that is true. Now, in this film, Abby, played by Manon Pages, inherits a kite from her late grandmother. But this is no ordinary kite. It is a bloodthirsty killer. Abby and her friends discover that the kite is turning other kites into killers as well when a group of them attack the local bread festival. I mean, everyone knows kites love bread. So they set out to find a way to stop the gang of kites and end their deadly rampage. Yeah, we actually had another film planned for a time hop, which I watched.
Yeah.
And then I got this as a screener, and it said from the makers of Sewer Gators. Like, well, hang on. And so I watched this, and I wasn't even like halfway through when I messaged you and said, screw the other one. Here's a screener. We're talking Killer Kites.
We won't go into detail what the other one was because this one was just so good.
Well, good in quotation marks.
Uh-oh.
No, I loved it. But admittedly, this is a stupid film.
Oh, God, yeah. I mean, come on. Who inherits a kite, let alone a killer one?
Yeah. But I just really enjoy these films. They are done with so much fun, and just none of it is to be taken seriously.
Oh, God, no. It's pretty clear right out of the gate.
No, absolutely. You do not walk into this thinking you're getting anything other than what it is. And I truly appreciate that.
And I had to marvel, as I was watching this, I had flashes of James Nguyen influences in this, because the kites and kite attacks and the kind of violence that the kites would imbue upon people was very Birdemic reminiscent.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely had a few flashes of that too. You can't help it.
And in this case, the way that it's used, the fact that they already know they're making a low budget, not to be taken serious, bad movie for the sake of it being bad, to actually almost, if they didn't, I'd be surprised if they weren't inspired by that, because then it's just here's a nod to another incredibly awful film.
No, I definitely think Birdemic definitely came across Paul Dale's video screen at some point.
It's probably an inspiration to him for most of his work.
No, this film is full of some really great lines, some really great sight gags. The bread festival is just a little disgusting. Who the sponsor is, and I'm not gonna. You need to watch the film.
Yeah, you need to watch the film. But that's part of the gag, too.
Yes. Oh, no, absolutely. This is definitely done at an extremely low budget. There was maybe, a half dozen people on screen at any given time. Even at the Big Bread Festival, which is at some park, they just had a couple booths set up, but there's only three people milling around in the background.
Right.
Probably also members of the crew that just weren't needed at that moment.
Yeah, one can only guess how many crew members there actually are when he's making these films.
Yeah. Now, I do think Sewer Gators, and I feel funny saying this, I think that one was a bit more refined.
Yeah, no, I will grant you that. It was kind of like they had. This one feels like somebody had kind of an idea and they spitballed it, and I mean, we got an hour 6 movie out of this.
Yeah. Yeah, they spitballed it while they were making it.
It could have almost been. You could have convinced me this was an improv session they recorded.
Well, I even think Sewer Gators had more of a this is an actual movie feel.
Yeah.
Where this one really feels like this is someone that just happened to come by and he had a portable video camera.
Kind of. Well, I mean, this one struggled to have a beginning, middle, and end kind of thing. It just kind of was what it was, and it petered out at the end. But
right.
I think that was all planned that way. It's just it does. Yeah, it doesn't sit like a full story.
I think they kind of had to. They extended it a little bit just so they get a few more Sewer Gator plugs in. I mean, there's practically almost like an epilogue at the end, which is just like a good 2-minute commercial for Sewer Gators.
Oh yeah, no, the plugs were insane. The mention, and you could get it for 99 cents on Amazon.
Wait, are you saying you can get that on Amazon for less than $1?
Yes, that Sewer Gators. You can find it on. Yeah, it went on like that. Yeah, it was great.
You just wonder where the hell ideas like this come from.
I'm going to say substances were involved.
I'm thinking that they had to sit down and go, I want to make a movie, but I want the killer to be the most innocent thing we can think of. And there had to have been just, well, what about this? What about that? No, that's been done. Or no, I don't like, that's too hard to film. And kites. Yes, let's do kites.
Well, and I was thoroughly amused that I guess you could almost say this is in the universe of Sewer Gators, because Paul Dale does reprise his role from the prior movie.
Yeah, that makes it a little meta, doesn't it?
It does.
Sewer Gators is a film within Killer Kites, but the character of Brock Peterson is in both films as the newscaster. But maybe he was doing a cameo in Sewer Gators as himself.
Perhaps. But yes, no, it's one of those, don't think about it too hard, your brain will hurt.
Yes. Which also came with a lot of the great little sight gags. If you watched his newscasts, the little scroll at the bottom of the screen was always some weird, strange, and funny factoid about Brock Peterson.
None of which were ever flattering to Brock Peterson, like is reading at a 3rd grade level.
Right. You didn't know. I looked it up. I saw it on IMDb. Paul Dale plays Brock Peterson. So that's kind of like his Hitchcock moment.
That's what we want to call that.
I had no idea. I didn't watch a trailer. I just read that it was from the Sewer Gators people. And I remember how much we enjoyed that one. So I just went into this one almost as blind as you did. And yeah, it was just, I had a smile on my face from beginning to end just because it was so ridiculous and so insane and over the top. But it was done with such fun. And yeah, it was a good time.
I mean, it's become essentially a genre, making a bad movie on purpose. It's the only way to explain some of the movies that are out there and the directors that keep making those things. Like mentioning James Nguyen. He keeps making the Birdemic movies. They are not getting any better the deeper you get into the series. But he still keeps getting funded for that stuff. And then I'm going to mention a special one near and dear to my heart, which I'm still trying to figure out, Neil Breen, You have yet to bite off a Neil Breen movie.
Yep, nope.
And we're still trying to figure out from my own little group of friends whether or not he is, if he is trolling the audience by trying to look serious but make a bad movie, or if he's just really thinks he's awesome and isn't. Either way, it's fun to just kind of freak yourself out with it. So Paul Dale making these movies, and you got to almost appreciate they're short, and there's something to be appreciated about that, because if you make them too long when they're this kind of stupid humor, it gets tedious. So you get in, you hit everyone, slap them around a little bit with some of the silliest stuff that you can think of, and then you get out, and it's good. It feels good.
No, I know exactly what you mean about the tedium. Did you ever watch a Velocipaster?
I have.
I think that is a brilliant idea for a short film.
Yes.
But they took it and stretched it to, I don't know what it was, like full movie length, hour 20, hour 30.
90 minutes or more.
Right. And by the time you're done, you're getting angry at the film because it's, okay, I get the joke.
Yeah. We get that this is stupid, move on.
Quit trying to explain the joke to me now and just end the thing.
And
right.
That's the key. Like in any comedy, if you have to explain the joke, you've ruined it.
Exactly.
So that's what Killer Kites really latched onto. Okay, we made a really dumb film about the notion that there's a sentient kite killing people. And the solution to taking it out was even more absurd than the existence of the thing. And I'm not going to get into that. Go watch it.
Yep, no spoilers.
No spoilers on that. But yeah, because it doesn't follow any trope of any kind. It's completely random and absurd, which is the theme of the movie. The whole thing is random, absurd for the fun of it, but it doesn't overplay itself.
Earlier, you said people making a bad film on purpose. That's what I'm really kind of enjoying about these people with Sewer Gators and Killer Kites. I don't think they're trying to make bad films. They're trying to make fun films. There might be ridiculous films or absurd films. I don't think they're bad films, though.
And it's all in the context of the use of the word. Yeah, they're making something not to be taken seriously. Mm-hmm. The film is the joke.
Right. Yeah, no, I can definitely see someone dialing this up and trying to watch it. And if they're thinking they're going to get anything close to a true horror film or anything like that, they might use the term bad.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, no, if you set in thinking you're going to take something seriously, that you're in the wrong mindset from the get-go. Mm-hmm. But then again, they named the movie Killer Kites.
Yeah, that's true. You are not pushing play on this thing.
No, you didn't go into this going, man, I'm dying for a slasher that involves thing made out of paper and sticks.
It has, now that I've watched Sewer Gators and enjoyed it as much as I did, and now Killer Kites, I am going to look into more of Paul Dale's filmography.
Yes.
He has another film that he did prior to Sewer Gators called Silent But Deadly, which is apparently a killer mime.
Which in and of itself that warrants exploring.
Absolutely. And there's even one, I think I said it was from 2014 called Chosen, which looks like it's an actual like attempt at a legitimate thriller horror film. And now I'm really curious to see that after seeing him do these types of films, to see what he might be able to do with like a true thriller. Or maybe that went south and he decided, I'm just going to make absurd films from now on. I don't know, but I'm really curious to see that.
It'd be interesting to see him evolve. Because doing parody in film is tough, because the long form is the thing that does ruin it. Like I can't watch those movies like Scary Movie, which is a parody of all horror films.
Right.
I can't get into those because it takes the joke too far. So I'm just curious if he can translate his parody work into more serious comedy, such. And assuming he ever wants to explore that at all.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, in the future, you mean? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. No, down the road. I mean, he's got a thing going here. I'm curious where he goes next.
Yeah, no, absolutely. He's definitely going to be a filmmaker I'm going to continue to follow, and yeah, he's got an audience member here for anything that comes out in the future.
I'm in for the ride. It's been a lot of fun catching these two particularly.
Yep, absolutely. So anyway, Killer Kites is available on Amazon, as is Sewer Gators. I believe if you don't want to spend the 99 cents, which, I encourage you to, because
Let's support our artists.
Yeah, a fraction of that will go back to the filmmakers. But I do think that Sewer Gators might be on Tubi right now, too. Anyway, that will do it for this time, Hop. Go check out these two films. Sewer Gators just came out in 2023, and it's available now. Yeah, please.
It's just so much fun. It's worth viewing any of them, and they're bite-sized movies. It's a great way to just laugh for an hour or so and then enjoy.
Absolutely. That'll do it. We will be back in a week with a full episode. Until then, thank you very much for listening, everybody. Bye.
See ya.